Aditya can be called as a national scientific mission, exploratory mission dedicated to study the sun. Today, let us know about Aditya L1 mission, which is a dedicated national spacecraft mission of India. This mission intends to launch a spacecraft and send it towards a particular place in space known as L1 Lagrangian point, which is about 1.5 million kilometers or 15 lakh kilometers away from the Earth in the direction of the sun. Whenever we think of studying the sun, exploring the sun, we may wonder whether Aditya L1 will go very near to the sun, and when it goes very near to the sun, doesn't the sun harm the spacecraft? How will it survive? These questions may arise for common man. But the average distance between the sun and Earth is about 150 million kilometers, or as we say in our country, 15 crore kilometers. Aditya L1 will study the sun continuously from a distance of only 15 lakh kilometers or 1.5 million kilometers. That is 1/100th of the distance between the sun and the Earth. So Aditya will not venture very near to the sun. On the other hand, it studies the sun continuously. It explores the sun. It observes the sun from a very far distance. And for studying the sun, Aditya has 7 scientific instruments, and all these instruments are built in India. Some of them are built in the Indian Space Research Organization, but since 2 other institutions, national institutions of science related to astronomy, are participating in it. They are Inter-University Center for Astronomy and Astrophysics, IUCA, in Pune, as well as Indian Institute of Astrophysics in Bangalore. Aditya can be called as a national scientific mission, exploratory mission dedicated to study the sun. Now consider the journey of Aditya and the entire mission itself. How does Aditya reach space first? Aditya is being launched on September 2nd, 2023 at around 11:50 a.m. as per the announcement, that from Sriharikota. You know that Satish Dhawan Space Center, the only launch center of India, is located in Sriharikota, about 80 kilometers north of Chennai. So from where, in India's trusted workhorse launch vehicle PSLV, Aditya is taking a ride to space first. Okay, so PSLV XL, which is the most powerful amongst the PSLV class of rockets, will take Aditya into an orbit around the Earth first. It will not directly go towards L1 Lagrangian point. Then after it safely reaches orbit, Aditya's orbit will be made to increase its most distant point. Okay, its orbital height will be enhanced, I would say. And that procedure will take quite some time, and at an opportune moment, Aditya will be freed from circling the Earth continuously, and it will be made to travel towards the L1 Lagrangian point. L1 Lagrangian point, it lies at a distance of about 15 lakh kilometers or 1.5 million kilometers from the Earth towards the sun, I told you. Actually, Aditya takes about 4 months to reach L1 Lagrangian point. Actually, Aditya will not be at L1 Lagrangian point itself. It will be inserted into an orbit that revolves around L1 Lagrangian point. Now let us consider the advantages of L1 Lagrangian point. Why L1 Lagrangian point? Why not from some other place? Instead of going that far, why don't we study the sun from Earth orbit itself? Yes, there are reasons. If you are at L1 Lagrangian point, you can study the sun continuously without any eclipse. So that is the reason why, for the continuous study of the sun 24 hours a day, for the continuous solar surveillance, Aditya 1 is being launched. For the study of the sun, Aditya has got 7 scientific instruments. One is called as a coronagraph that blocks the light from the visible surface of the sun, which is called photosphere, which is very bright. In the bright light of photosphere, we cannot observe the inner atmosphere of the sun called chromosphere, or the outer atmosphere of the sun called corona. So, in order to study corona, you have to block the light from the photosphere. So this instrument from Indian Institute of Astrophysics, called a type of a coronagraph, it will create an artificial eclipse of the sun, and through that Aditya will be able to concentrate on the outer atmosphere of the sun called corona. Okay, why corona? Because there are certain activities in the corona which throw enormous amount of particles, subatomic particles, ions, okay, from the sun, and they are very harmful. Apart from coronal mass ejections, the gigantic explosions of the sun in the photosphere called solar flares, they will also harm the earth if they are very intense. So in order to get a forewarning, in order to be capable of generating a forewarning of the impending solar flares, after effects of the solar flares and coronal mass ejections, you need to study the sun continuously so that you may try to generate a reliable warning of the onslaught of such things. In fact, today humans are excessively relying on electricity, and there are modern gadgets like artificial earth satellites, and humans themselves are living in different orbits around the earth. So the coronal mass ejections and the after effects of the solar flares, they are capable of harming orbiting satellites, and even the astronauts and Chinese taikonauts are also there who are orbiting the earth. And the angry sun will be capable of knocking out electrical grids on the surface of the earth. Such instances are there rarely. In 1989 in Canada such a thing happened, and there was chaos totally for a few hours when the electrical grid was knocked out. So by studying the sun carefully, its surface, the inner atmosphere, chromosphere, and the outer atmosphere, corona, and if you are capable of understanding the happenings there, the kind of activities there, and if you can link those activities to the coronal mass ejections as well as solar flares, you will be able to generate reliable forewarning of the onslaught of such harmful things like CMEs or solar flares. So that is what Aditya intends to do. So Aditya has got a coronagraph to study the light from corona only by blocking the light from photosphere, and for the first time Aditya is carrying an ultraviolet telescope, a kind of ultraviolet telescope which can generate the entire disk of the sun, image of the disk of the sun with good resolution, and this is a first, I would say. Then you have got X-ray instruments, 2 X-ray spectrometers are there. So totally 4 instruments of Aditya will continuously focus their attention towards the sun. Apart from that, Aditya has got 3 more instruments. Totally there are 7 instruments. 3 instruments will sense the ambient conditions and the kind of particles, the kind of plasma, the kind of magnetic fields that are there. They are sensed by the other 3 instruments of Aditya. So already many spacecraft are studying the sun, and some of them are continuously turn their attention towards the sun, and India's Aditya L1 is the latest spacecraft which is proceeding towards a vantage point in space called L1 Lagrangian point to continuously study the sun. Okay, with this kind of scientific data that will be generated by Aditya, and all the information will be sent through radio waves to a ground station on the earth, and with such information definitely one can be optimistic about the more deeper understanding of the sun, and thereby benefiting from such information, so that some of the difficulties which we face due to the angry sun can be overcome with the help of Aditya 1. Let us wish the ISRO scientists well. Already they have proved their capability in the case of Chandrayaan 3. Now yet another mission which is very prominent and very significant, a launch of that mission is taking place on September 2nd. As Indians, let us wish ISRO scientists well. Thank you.